pray together. Accept and bless, O Lord, this school, and use it in all things according to thy will. May it stand always for all that is true, noble, lovely, and of good report. Grant that we and others may so gain from its life, that many may bless thee for the day when it was founded, and that its work may be extended and continued for generations to come. Through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Please be seated. Early one morning, a mother went in to wake up her son. "Wake up, dear. It is time to go to school." "But why, Mom? I don't want to go." "Give me 2 reasons why you don't want to go." "Well, the kids hate me for one, and that goes for the teachers too." "Oh, that's no reason not to go to school. Come on now, get ready." He retorted, "Give me 2 reasons why I should go to school." "Well, for one, you are 60 years old, and for another, you're the headmaster." Our guest of honour, Fiona Mills, and husband Andy, the rector, Mr. Howard Blackett and Susie, distinguished and invited guests, staff, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, a warm welcome to our 35th prize giving. Just for the record, as headmaster, there hasn't been one day in the last 26 years that I haven't found it an absolute pleasure to go to work, especially in this beautiful oasis of ours. Nevertheless, today heralds the last day of what I would be not too far wrong in classing as one of the finest years Springvale House has enjoyed. This in terms of achievement, school spirit and pride, and the children's notable progress. Whether it has been in the classroom, sports field, or other areas of the co-curricular program, our staff and children have done themselves and their school very proud indeed. The long list of events and results which can be found enclosed in today's program bears testimony to how good this year has been. I think, though, it would be remiss of me not to highlight a cross-section of these achievements during 2019. For example, in February, our cross-country team were magnificent under coaches Steph Orhaven and junior staff. The squad super fitness showed in the season's opener at Sharon School, where all age groups shone. A few weeks later, the longer and more challenging Lafordia meeting, however, could be rated as our best performance in many years. Competing against 30 other teams, all in races of over 180 runners, we came a very impressive 4th overall. In March, our marimbas and choirs, taken by Joe Warinda and Teresa Cavini respectively, excelled. The former received a commendable 1+, whilst the infants choir gained a 1st+. The seniors were awarded honours. They came 2nd overall, competing in a section of 26 schools. I was reminded too, at our grade 7 leavers dinner last week, that our senior athletes broke the provincial record in the 4x100 metre relay. The middle term has for the majority of the children been the most exciting in terms of sport played. Graham and Reese Broxham's first 15 won all but their last match of the season. They were awarded the prize for playing the most attractive rugby at our Springvale House Festival and also obtained the silverware at the Hellenic Sevens. The first 11 boys with Shelley Nichols, this is the hockey, followed this up winning the day-night festival at Lafordia. Fast forwarding, the third term saw all the class educational trips successfully completed. The fact that they happened in a challenging economic climate was a little triumph in itself. Results from the National Institute of Allied Arts were published in late September, showing a much improved standard obtained by our children. In the art section throughout the school, we received 12 first grades, 8 honours, and in the prose and poetry, 9 first grades, 3 first pluses, and 3 honours. The grade 7s impressed too in the CHIS exams. In computers, 35 children wrote, 28 received credits, and 7 children distinctions. In Shona, the L1s gained 5 credits, 7 distinctions, whilst the L2s obtained 4 credits and 5 distinctions. In October, at half term, our Thursday afternoon extra options had a chance to showcase their skills. The art club, horse riders, karate, dance groups and gymnasts did not disappoint. The year ended on a high note with our plays Cinderella Rockefeller and Busy Busy Bethlehem. Along with the junior play in the first term, Oink, all our children made it onto the stage. This exposure to audiences is a vital life skill in our children's education. Our congratulations to the producers, Jenny Christian, Shelley Nichols and Fiona Hanley, not only for supplying some lovely entertainment, but for also maintaining the standards we have come accustomed to. One might well ask, how has all this been achieved? Well, our systems and structures have not changed, and we have continued to promote the growth mindset and grit cultures, together with our positive coaching program. It seems a good percentage of our children have a deeper understanding of the likes of hard work, commitment, perseverance and effort, respect for rules, officials, opposition, teammates and oneself. That mistakes are allowed and we learn from them. This year we have emphasized 2 small but significant contributing factors. The first of which features in one's approach to growth mindsets and is closely associated to the line, I can get better if I work at it. In this instance, it has revolved around a little 3-letter word, yet. Put into practice when a child has not succeeded, or made a mistake, or is disappointed, or simply not risen to an expectation, is the saying, I am not there.
Yes.
I am not there yet has changed their attitude and approach towards daily encounters and given them a more positive psyche. Secondly, we adopted a slogan which took hold. Team Springvale House. Hang on guys. What does it stand for, team?
Together everyone achieves more.
Well done. You haven't let me down. This, in a way, can be related to the story of the janitor working in the NASA Space Complex who, when asked, "What do you do at the center?" was quick to reply, "We put a man on the moon." This, in essence, captures what Springvale House has stood for the last 35 years. One big happy family. A place where each and every person is valued and their contribution, however big or small, is seen as worthwhile and important. However, having said this for 2019, in the bigger picture, Springvale House is more than this. I liken our school to a beautiful length of fabric, with its myriad threads, all delicately woven into the making of the cloth, so there are many components in the school which come together. The main threads, which give our schools the direction and vision, are the several loyal committees that we have functioning in the system. Working closely together, the Board of Governors, EXCO, FINCO, PESCO and the top management team have ensured the school's best interest is at heart. The committee, led by the various chairmen, namely Stuart Mattinson, Simon Hammond, Sam Malaba and Graham Webb, along with their members, have done a wonderful job in very difficult times. Their sound decision making is a reflection of the force we continue to be. I believe they need a big round of applause. Thank you. I have always believed the 3 most important threads within a school are the children, parents and staff. Not necessarily in that order either, but without a strong element of one or the other, it would be very difficult for a school to function at its maximum. While Springvale House is blessed to have lovely children and supportive parents, we especially enjoy having a wonderful team of staff. I have been very privileged and fortunate to have had the opportunity to work with such dedicated, conscientious and committed teachers. They have amazed me under trying times to keep giving 110% to the school. Their main aim, to always encourage the children to reach their full potential. My sincere thanks to them for their endeavours, successes and another great year. Well done. Staying with staff, we have what I've always called the support staff to thank as well. Linda Wellock in the SAN, Maria Chihuri, our housekeeper, Irene in our kitchens, Leon Krief, our estates manager, Duff Rogers in transport, Jason Driscoll in maintenance, Joe Baxter in charge of our gardens, and Sue Heathcote in our accounts, many of whom I have worked with for years and who have been great in their different roles to ensure the cogs have turned and all has worked behind the scenes. I also ask them to convey to their teams of workers our sincere appreciation for their good job done. I believe they also need a big thank you. We sadly bid farewell to a couple of teachers today. First of all, Clara Kristen, our art teacher, who has been with us for the last 2 years. She finishes on a high note with her pupils' impressive results in the 2019 Allied Arts Visual Competition. Clara, we have a little something for you, and thank you for all you have done. Well done. Liz Peebles, our grade 7 teacher, who has also in the past taught grade 5, 6 and the art, and ended up being responsible for a multitude of jobs around the school, such as the gardens, curtaining and other soft furnishing items, costume room, flowers and the like. In the classroom, she is a no-nonsense teacher. The children taught by her have soon realized that she expects only the best from them. They also come to understand they can't get away with much, if anything. However, it doesn't take too long before the children come to respect her for her fairness, consistency and praise given when deserved. On all our behalf, I'd like to thank Liz and ask you to come forward to receive a small token of our appreciation. So you might not have heard that, but it feels very weird doing that. To cap staffing, the start of 2020 will witness a small shuffle around with both teachers and classes. Mrs. Nichols will move to the big grade 7 class, and Mrs. Celeste Bronkhorst, who has been teaching at Peterhouse Girls for the last 3 years, will take over the grade 4s. If not heard already, due to the demand for places, there will be an extra grade 5 class next year. We are very fortunate to have an ex-Springvale House girl and Patreon, Sammy Dollar, join us in the new year to take this class. She has trained at the highly regarded Tufts University's Teachers Faculty and will no doubt bring with her fresh and new ideas. Another strong strand that makes up the Springvale House fabric has been the PTA, whose brief has always been to primarily organise functions to get the school family together. In so doing, they have managed over the years to raise a huge amount of extra funds for the benefit of the school and the children's welfare. I take time to thank the many committees I've worked with for their unfailing support over the years and the many memorable occasions we have had, our annual fireworks being a perfect example. I am delighted that from the long list of many chairpersons I have worked with, Harry Orphanides, Terry Coughlin, Henry Harris, Ron Zay, Hans Christen, Kevin Cook, Oscar Johnson and Sandy Werzik, they have managed to join us today, all of whom gave up their time generously and went the extra mile to steer the committee successfully. Thank you for making an effort to be here, past chairpersons. Thank you. Sarah Creamer has just given me a beadie. I purposely omitted to mention Sarah Creamer, our present chair lady, as at this point I would like to take some time to specially salute her for her wonderful contribution and hard work over the last few years. Nothing has been too much trouble, so it has been a sheer pleasure to work with this diligent, conscientious, extremely organized and meticulous lady. The many and highly successful PTA functions we have enjoyed of late have been as a result of her attention to detail, commitment, and immense time given to Springvale House. On behalf of us all, for what she has done and achieved, I would like to ask Sarah to please accept this small token of our appreciation. Thank you, James. Before drawing to a close, I ask for your patience a while longer, so as to reflect a little on the past 3.5 decades. For those who may not be aware, this campus once accommodated Springvale House Boys School, which for security reasons and dwindling numbers had to close its doors in 1979. At the closing prize giving ceremony that year, Canon Grinham, who was one of the founders of Springvale Boys, gave his final speech. In it, he referred to his hope that Springvale would one day rise again like a phoenix out of the ashes. It has done just that, thanks to the initiative of a few people. Alan McGay, the then Peterhouse rector, in 1985 engineered the reopening of our lovely school. At the same time, John Calderwood, the Springvale House's founder headmaster, was appointed. With his energetic and dynamic leadership, our school flourished. The doors opened initially for grades 1 to 5, with 93 boys and girls in the school. Thankfully, it has grown and grown in every aspect and never looked back. Canon Grinham, who is looking down from heaven, can well be proud and pleased that the phoenix has not only risen, but has soared to great heights, thus making Springvale House the reputable school it is known for today. As for Liz and I, we arrived here in 1986, a year after Springvale House had reopened. We had been married a couple of years and had the pleasure of raising our 2 sons, Craig and Andy, here in this wonderful community. This was the start to our Springvale House journey. Little did we know that this would span 34 years and cover a large percentage of our working career. Inevitably, references have been made to this and how we have managed to do it. In some ways, I relate this to a book where our time here has been a series of chapters, the first of which could be titled The Early Years, followed next by the honeymoon days of a new head. It was not long after that land reformation saga in the late 90s kicked in, which resulted in the next chapter involving hyperinflation. Thankfully, the US dollar emerged after 2008, which witnessed the Peterhouse Girls expansion chapter. This has brought to us our present stage, where the less said, the better. Nonetheless, each chapter, with its vast difference, were enough to keep us on our toes, motivated and interested to continue on our Springvale House path. As would be expected in all chapters, there have been highs and lows. I liken this to the days you're a pigeon, sitting high on the statue, feeling on top of the world, and then there are those days when you are the statue. That said, there have also been many a day where I've felt like a swan. On the surface, gliding serenely across the water, but paddling like mad underneath. Liz and I look back at our Springvale House journey with pride and fulfillment. We have thoroughly enjoyed every moment here and would have no hesitation repeating it all again. As I draw to a close, Springvale House has an excellent year and finds itself in a strong position. This is clearly supported by the recently completed Marketing and Quality Assurance Survey. With a 96% questionnaire return, the feedback received on the whole indicates the school is certainly on the right track. This, and with a full school of pupils, excellent staff, a young, keen and dynamic headmaster, and your unwavering support, Springvale House has all the ingredients to continue soaring and to go forwards and upwards. Thank you. It now gives me great pleasure to introduce to you our guest of honor, Fiona Mills. Fiona was born in Harare a very long time ago. That was her words. Way before cell phones and DSTV were even thought about, but nonetheless had a very happy childhood. She went to school in Harare at Venona Primary School and Dominican Convent High School. After school, she travelled a bit before settling down and marrying Andy. They have two daughters who were born in the age of cell phones and DSTV. In 2006, Fiona started working with Island Hospice, where her passion working with children was ignited. In 2010, she undertook a diploma in child and adolescent counselling through Oxford College in the UK and has been working with children ever since. Although she is employed part-time at the Chisapiti Junior Schools as a junior school counsellor, she works with a number of children from other schools as well, Springvale House being one. Fiona says that she is no parenting expert, but though her own experiences, sometimes fairly harsh experiences, she recognises that we are parenting in a very different world to the one in which we were brought up, where we played out on the roads in the afternoon and went to the drive-in or cinema to watch movies. With this in mind, Fiona sees the need to work with children in conjunction with parents who are, in most cases, very much part of the solution in their children's well-being, and particularly in a rapidly changing world. She says that whether you were brought up in a world or without cell phones and DSTV, the end result should be the same: a very happy childhood. Ladies and gentlemen, Fiona Mills.
Good morning, and thank you so much for inviting me, Mr. Peebles, invited guests, staff, parents and children. It gives me great honour to be here today. I have to be honest, when Mr. Peebles said, could I give a small talk, apart from being terrified, I spent a lot of time sitting and thinking. And because a lot of the time I was actually only sitting, it reminded me of A.A. Milne, and a lot of you will know about A.A. Milne. He was the guy who was the author of all the Winnie the Pooh books, with Winnie the Pooh and Piglet and Tigger and Kangaroo and Rabbit and Owl and the gloomy old Eeyore. And they lived in the 100-acre woods, and through their stories we learn about their individual characters. And we learn that they work as a team. They spend a lot of time going on adventures and helping each other out. On one of the adventures, Christopher Robin, the little boy, he sends them off on an expedition. He takes them all and he says, we're going to go and find the North Pole. And halfway there, he stops and he takes Rabbit off to the side and he says to Rabbit, do you know what we're looking for? And Rabbit says, but Christopher Robin, I thought you knew. And Christopher says, I did know once, but I've sort of forgotten. So I thought I'd use that expression of Christopher Robin's today to remind your parents, because there are so many lessons we can learn from Winnie the Pooh, and they may be a little bit like Christopher Robin. They might have sort of forgotten. So I'm going to remind them at the same time. One of the greatest lessons we can learn from Winnie the Pooh is the importance of friends. Winnie the Pooh spends every day and every adventure working out when he can have a small smackerel of something. And what he's saying there is that every day and every adventure is worked around when he can dip his paw into a pot of honey and slurp up that lovely golden liquid. So when he says that a day without friends is a bit like a pot of honey with no honey in it, we know how important friends are. So what is a friend? When Winnie the Pooh's looking for a friend, he suggests you should look for someone who's uncomplicated. Someone who speaks in a way that's easy to understand. Someone who knows what's important for you. He says, don't find a friend who uses long, difficult sentences. Find somebody who uses short, easy words like, what about lunch? Didn't I tell you, he only thinks about his tummy, Winnie the Pooh. But what he's saying is find somebody who knows what's important to you. And to Winnie the Pooh, his tummy was important. The gloomy donkey Eeyore. He thought the world was against him the whole time. He didn't have any friends. And it was only when it was pointed out to him that he had spent all his days sitting in one corner of the forest, waiting for friends to come to him, that he realized that actually finding friends takes effort and it takes time. To have a friend, you have to be a friend first. And after Eeyore learned this lesson, on one of his many gloomy moments, he said, can't complain, at least I've got my friends. Friends are very, very important. Winnie the Pooh and his friends go off on many adventures. Some of these are a little bit scary. And Piglet doesn't always feel very brave, because he says it's hard to feel brave when you're a very, very small animal. And when he says this, Winnie the Pooh takes him off to the side and offers him his paw, and Piglet feels better. But Pooh Bear himself isn't always that brave. Winnie the Pooh and Christopher Robin go off to hunt a heffalump, and I'm sure you all know what a heffalump is, those big grey things. They go off to hunt a heffalump. And Pooh looks up at Christopher Robin and he's terrified, he's shaking in his boots. But he says, but I'm never really afraid when I'm with you. Often the best way to show that you're a true friend is just being there, and especially if your friend's a little bit frightened. Although Winnie the Pooh, Tigger, Piglet, Owl, Kangaroo and Rabbit are all great friends, they're all very, very different personalities. They all have good and bad days, which we all do as well. Owl, who's very, very wise, he says, if the person that you're talking to doesn't appear to be listening, be patient. Maybe he's just got a small piece of fluff in his ear. We don't all walk around with fluff in our heads, do we? What he's saying is that maybe that fluff is something else. The person might seem rude when we're talking to them and they're ignoring us. But maybe that fluff, maybe they're not feeling well. Maybe they're distracted. Maybe they're worried. So be patient, they might just have fluff. Children, it's really important to never ever be afraid when you have fluff in your ears. When you have things that worry you or make you scared. Everyone has worries, even your mums and dads, and even teachers. We all have worries. Some worries go away very, very quickly. Some worries are because you've seen something or heard something you don't understand. Some worries are really big worries, and those are for grown-ups. But all worries need to be spoken about. Winnie the Pooh and Piglet were walking along one day, and Piglet, in his timid little voice, turned to Winnie the Pooh and said, supposing a tree fell down when we were underneath it? And Winnie the Pooh looked at him, and he looked around, and he thought for a bit. Supposing it didn't, said Winnie the Pooh. And Piglet felt much better about that. Parents, in our Piglets' lives, we are the Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh had no idea whether the tree would fall down on them or not. But very gently and calmly, he turned a frightening situation into something that was less frightening. And us, as Winnie the Pooh to our piglets, we need to think about the way we communicate with our children as well. Because communication isn't only what we say, it's the way we say it, it's the tone, it's our body language, it's our facial expressions. You could actually say communication equals observation. And in a world, and particularly in a country, where there's an increase in anxiety, we need to be particularly aware of how we communicate with our piglets, and especially if they're uptight. Sometimes it's best to be a bit like A.A. Milne and sit and think some more, and think again. How am I communicating and how's it being interpreted? Am I the role model when it comes to tackling problems? How do I manage my own anxiety so that we don't all end up in a tangle? Because we all have worries. We all have to juggle tricky situations, and we all need to try and try and try again to get things right. Children, Tigger, this bouncy, stripy tiger, he teaches us about it's not how fast you run or how high you climb, but how well you bounce. And I like to think he's talking about bouncing back when you make mistakes, because we all make mistakes, all of us. Sometimes we make mistakes at home, sometimes at school, in the playground, in the classroom, in the dorm. We all make mistakes, and it's okay to make mistakes. We all do it, and that's life's way of teaching us how to succeed in life. Important thing about making mistakes is working out how to recover from them. Don't ask somebody else to get you out of a tricky situation. Don't hide from your mistakes. Learn to bounce back from them. Learn to bounce like Tigger, because the higher you bounce, the more you're going to succeed. So when I was sitting and thinking, I realised that although we don't live in the 100-acre woods like Winnie the Pooh and Piglet and Tigger, we live in a country that's quite similar in a lot of ways. Because Zimbabwe is like one great big adventure playground. Sometimes Zimbabwe can be a bit tricky. But we don't want those tricky bits to become fluff in our ears. So let's turn the situation around and look at living in Zimbabwe as a fantastic experience. A chance to show the world what we're really made of. Because living in Zimbabwe, we learn that things don't easily come our way. We don't give up when we're faced with challenges. Living in Zimbabwe, we learn to recognise those who are less fortunate than us, and we give back to our community. Living in Zimbabwe, we learn the importance of teamwork and having really good friends to rely on. But most of all, children, you live in Zimbabwe where we have the most fantastic weather most of the year. It's all like today's a bit chilly. But we have the most incredible 100-acre woods just out there, where you children can explore, you can play, you can get dirty, you can get muddy, all those things you can't do on your gadgets, you can do out in your 100-acre woods here. So make friends, go on new adventures, invent new games, get really, really muddy. Parents, your job is to have the sticky plasters right there at the ready as your children navigate their way through life. Be there to pick up the pieces when things go wrong, because they will. But allow your children to learn for themselves how to bounce back when they make mistakes. Never ever forget that the higher they bounce, the more they're going to succeed. Our children are braver than we think, stronger than they seem, and smarter than you think. Mr. Peebles, countless children have ventured out of their corner of this forest. This great big 100-acre woods at Springvale. Some have stumbled, some have climbed over boulders, some have needed coaxing, but all the time you've been at the other end of the Springvale 100-acre woods, guiding them, allowing them to find themselves, encouraging them to pick themselves up and bounce back when they've made mistakes. But most importantly, you've stood there with a never-ending supply of sticky plasters. You've been there to catch up children who, after all, are just enjoying a happy childhood. And I'm sure many, many parents will agree with me and say a very big thank you to you.
We now move on to the prize giving. We will do grade 1 class first. The class prize goes to Takunda Kadziranga. The progress prize goes to Crystal Borerwe. And the reading cup goes to Jacques Ferreira. We move on to grade 2. Please can I ask from now on in, we will clap the class and progress prize, and then we will clap at the end for the remainder of the other prizes that we've awarded. The class prize, Kaylin Munzewa. The progress prize, Sabi Whittle. The reading cup, which is the Munch Cup, Nambo Gundo. We'll chat at the end, thanks. The Mathematics Cup, which is the A Knight Cup, Matthew Eastwood. And the English Cup, the C Knight Cup, Cara Torrey. We move on to the grade 3 class. The class prize and L2 Shona, Niall Whaley. The progress prize, Blessing Chakumara. Mathematics goes to Cullen Watt. English, Tyler Hill. All-round diligence, Alexia Tsalentis. Shona L1, Milka Sanangura. And computers, Tanatswa Madziva. We move on to grade 4. The class prize and computers, David Bathurst. The progress prize, Erin Fulleun. Mathematics, Briley Anderson. English and L2 Shona, Riley Moore. Content, Tatenda Chibawara. Shona L1 and Art, Angela Malai. Shona L2, Cambria Watt. And Progress in Curriculum Support, Kayla van der Merwe. Grade 5. The class prize and English, Sheree Trewartha. Progress prize and art, Mandipa Mawunga. Mathematics and L2 Shona, Spencer Bean. Content, Nicholas Orphanides. Shona L1 and Academics, Simon Nyadundu. And computers, Erin Eastwood. We now move on to grade 6C. The class prize, plus English, plus L2 Shona, Matteo Tsalentis. The
Progress Prize, Ruby Tasker. Dedication to content subjects and computers, Jasmine Mulder. Mathematics, Stacey Johnson. Shona L1, Tawana Nyasha Maguto. We move on to grade 6A. The class prize and computers, Tapfuma Tawundi. The progress prize, Mufara Washe Matiza. English, Fadzisai Mushaninga. Shona L1, Faith Hamandishe. Shona L2, Liam Whaley and Travis Hall. Art, Tadiwa Musimwa. Grade 7W. The class prize, Lana van der Merwe. The progress prize, Darshan Niranjan Bana. Mathematics and curriculum support, Liam Stanger. English, Danielle Kashula. Content and art, Lizelle Hill. Diligence, Desire Chikami. And Shona L1 and computers, Anoshamisa Chisenga. Grade 7P. The Buckland Cup for the class prize and L2 Shona, Eleanor Creamer. The Webb Martin Cup for the Progress Prize, Acacia Orphanides. The Baker Cup for Mathematics and L2 Shona, James Watt. The Niven Cup for English and L1 Shona, Anotidashe Chabanda. Shona L1, Ashley Sanangura. Shona L2 and Diligence, Lily Bean. Computers, John Saravoy. And for Diligence, Kupakwashe Svandaziva. We now move on to special awards, and the Coghlan Art Trophy, Acacia Orphanides. The Raina Happy Camper, Anoshamisa Chisenga. The Brian Bedford Cup for Conservation, Eleanor Creamer. The Sellers Wildlife Trophy goes to Grinham. The Valor Dance Cup, Tatenda Kwenda. the Marandera Garden Club Cup for the most improved musician, Tapfuma Toundi. The Polly Anderson Music Cup for juniors is shared between Alexia Tsalentas and Simon Nyadundu. The Denise Osborne Music Cup for seniors, Ashley Sanangura. The Hopgood Cup for the most contribution to choir, Kupakwashis Vandaziva. The Mellon Cup for drama, Eleanor Creamer. These next awards were awarded earlier, in fact at the end of last week at the Grade 7 Leavers, but we want to recognise them now. The Millwood Swimmer Sports Girl of the Year 2019, Sinead Jones. And the Peebles Cup for the Sports Boy 2019 was shared. Russell Hawkins and Kupakwashes Vandaziva. The Alan McGay Trophy for Courage and Endeavour throughout the year, Ben Fullewen. I now hand over to Mr. Peebles.
Thank you very much, Fiona, for doing that. You've still got another 4 to hand out, by the way, so don't get too relaxed. And just to say to Fiona, a very big thank you for coming here today. She's a wonderful counsellor. I'm sure there are some of us who know who she is. I met her only this year, and I'm sad I've only just met her, but it's been a real delight and privilege to have met this wonderful lady. She does so much for our children. And her message today, Winnie the Pooh, well, I know it captivated the children. I saw them all leaning forward like a good story. I hope you remember some of those. There was one thing that's common. Mistakes are okay. That's right. Well done, Solby. That mistakes are okay. And yet you learn from our mistakes, and I'm glad you reiterated that. But thank you very much indeed. And I'm going to go out of turn now, but I'm going to ask Coco to please come up and give you something in appreciation of what you've done today. Thank you very much. As a start to my closing remarks, my congrats to those prize winners today for your hard work and progress made in your academics. Also to the many who were recognized yesterday at final assembly. Well done to you all. As I have mentioned in the past, we need our kids to fully believe in the concept that everyone shines at some time or another in very different ways. More importantly, they need to be happy for those who shine and hold on to the belief that if I keep learning, practicing, growing and trying, my time will come one day in its own special way. And that is okay. To those children who do not receive anything or hope for better, keep trying. Your time will come. You are not there yet. It now gives me great pleasure to announce the first of the remaining 4 prestigious trophies. The Archbishop's Shield, presented to the House, which has done best overall in the sports arena. Worked on a point system, done for all the inter-house events throughout the year. Well done to The next is the Sharif House Points Trophy. This is awarded to the house that accumulates the most house points for good work, positive behaviour and conduct through the year. Announced weekly at Assembly, this has always drawn much excitement and anticipation of who has won that week. It has been a close competition between Founders and Grinham this year. Grinham enjoyed the house tea yesterday, but the overall winners for 2018 are Founders. The penultimate cup is the Howard Smitham Cup for citizenship. This is awarded to the pupil whom we feel best epitomises what a Springvale House child should strive to be: a loyal, positive, caring, thoughtful, conscientious, considerate, hardworking, well-mannered, polite and well-behaved pupil. Someone who is proud of their school and generally being an upstanding citizen for others to emulate. As always, this goes to both a staff and grade 7 vote. And in a popular decision, it gives me great pleasure to award this cup to Lily Bean. Lastly, the Headmaster's Cup, which goes to the pupil who has a positive approach to school as a whole, a healthy growth mindset, participates fully and contributes most to the system. The recipient this year has also distinguished, shall we say, itself in many areas and in its general conduct and demeanour. For her excellent achievements and what we encourage all pupils to aspire to do: strive to be a good citizen, get totally involved and give of their very best, fully deserved, and our congratulations to Eleanor Creamer. Okay, Mum, you can stop taking photos. Before closing, I would like to make special mention of a few people. I start with my colleagues in top management and extend on behalf of us all our grateful appreciation to Mark Whittaker for all his impressive number skills that have kept the group of schools afloat. Not an easy task by any means, with the goalposts moving as much as they have done of late. I have lost count, but recall the budget having to be redrafted at least 5 times. Am I correct, Mark? 6! One hell of a juggling act. So I believe we need to put our hands together and thank him very much. To Tracy Blicknote, who leaves Peebles Girls after 5 years at the helm. Being on the same campus, we have worked closely together and shared facilities. Not always an easy task, but I think we can safely say it has been very amicable. Tracy, we wish you all of the very best in your future endeavours as you make your way to Riyadh in Saudi Arabia to take up a headship there. Good luck. To Howard Blackett, who departs with Susie in a few days for England. From Liz and me, it has been great getting to know you both over the last 7 years and spending a few special times together. Thank you for leading the group of schools so well in what has been trying times. With Zimbabwe's unique challenges, I am sure you have a few stories to tell back home of your African experiences, especially a few Python stories, no less. We will miss you but know you are the perfect person to go back and sort out Brexit. On behalf of the Peterhouse Group, we thank you for all you have done to keep the excellence in the schools going and wish you both all of the very best. Then to two ladies who I've worked with very closely with for many a year, and through their wise counsel have made my job so much easier. To Shelley and Kathy, well done for bearing up with me, nodding agreeably when I vented my frustrations, and being such pillars of support. It has been the epitome of Team Springvale House. I know you will work together with Paul Martin to ensure Springvale House continues in the same vein. To you both, thank you. You notice I'm not turning around looking at my staff at the moment. To Liz, for the other hat she wears as my wife and rock. Thanks for your unwavering support, commitment and passion for Springvale House over all these years. It has been very much appreciated. Thank you. I am sure you join me in bidding the grade 7s all of the best for high school. Our congratulations again on their input and achievements this year. I urge you to work hard and fully participate in the many activities on offer at high school. Good luck. Your progress we've watched with interest. In ending, 2019 has been another wonderful year for Springvale House. The staff join Liz and me in wishing you all a very good holiday, safe travels, and a happy festive season. Thank you. I now ask the choir to please come up. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur and Madame Peebles.
Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Peebles, for all you've done for us.
Not sure there's much to add to that. Thank you, choir, Teresa. Good morning, Springvale. Mr. and Mrs. Peebles, Graham and Liz. Since the day it was announced that you were to leave, the respect, kind words, the love that has been expressed by pupils, parents, staff, past and present, seems to know no bounds. The line of well wishes has stretched over the bright orange glow of the sunset horizon, sharing the beauty of what they have witnessed. What an astonishingly happy school. A member of staff just after their arrival at the place. You had an ability to have fun, but still be strict. A past pupil. Oh, what that school has done for my child. I am so grateful. They really, really care for the school. Even the proverbial woe is me, what are we going to do, has come out. But we are looking forward to having the Martins arrive soon. And it means a great deal to us that their appointment has been unconditionally approved by you. Amidst the worries and stresses we all carry in the world we live in, it is an extraordinary thing to realize that the one thing you have no concern about whatsoever is whether or not your child at Springvale is growing up in the right way before God. Graham, the uncompromising clarity that the school is there first and foremost for the child, the extraordinary and kindly insight into the individual child and just what they need for their growth, which fertilizer or pesticide is required at that particular point of their journey, and the cheerful, good-natured way that you go about this business. Of all the characteristics you work on instilling in your children, your love of courage and grit is wonderful. And so is the twinkle in your eye that appears when a boy does something special on a rugby field. Liz, we have greatly valued your meticulousness and determination for high standards in everything. The levels of organization, including, and very importantly, manners. Manners are currently perhaps not as valued as they were in previous generations. They are fundamentally important to the Christian value of selflessness, as they teach a child to look away from themselves and towards those around them. And as such, they are a cornerstone of a healthy community. Thank you, Liz, for making manners such a priority. The people's stay at Springvale, their length of service, is similar to what the school's founder, Robert Grinham, gave both Springvale and the other school he founded, Rezawi. Graham and Liz, we are most sincerely grateful to you and to God who has allowed us to have you all this time. We must keep in touch. I would like to conclude by saying these words over you. A prayer to God as you move out into your somewhat uncertain future. They were written by King David, the boy that killed Goliath 3,000 years ago. I have been young and now am old, yet I have not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his descendants begging for bread. He is ever merciful and lends, and his descendants are blessed. May God bless you, walk with you, protect you, and light your way in the days, months, and years ahead.
Thank you. Can we get on with things?
We will now be upstanding and sing, Lord, dismiss us with thy blessing.
Please can we remain standing and sing the school blessing together.